Yes. So first of all, welcome. I'm so excited you guys decided to come to this class today. Got some really exciting things to share with all of you today. My name is Nathan Pugh. I work as the children's minister at the Church of Christ in Green Hills. It used to be Granny White, just right beside Lipscomb University, about 10 minutes down the road. So I'm really excited that all of you are here. I want to give you a little bit of background on me, just a very little bit. Connect Conference has been something that's been a part of my family's life and a part of my church journey for a little bit now. I used to be the children's minister at the Lebanon Road Church of Christ in Donaldson, just across town. Got some friends from Lebanon Road right there. And then a couple years ago, about 5 years ago, my wife and I both accepted the children's ministry positions at the Church of Christ in Green Hills. We've been there for 5 years. We've got an 18-month-old, and life is kind of crazy for us right now. But I'm very excited to share with you guys about a couple of things about children's ministry. So this is when I was thinking about this class and what I wanted to say and what I wanted to talk about with all of you, I really wanted to think about what is children's ministry as a whole. What is it supporting? What kinds of things are the children's ministry's responsibility, and what things are parents' responsibility? So we're going to talk about those things in just a minute. But before I get started, I want to say a word of prayer over our class this morning, just so the Lord will make clear to you what you're supposed to hear from me today. So if you would join me in prayer. Dear God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for everything that you have given us. We thank you for times like Connect Conference, times where we can get together and consider things of you, consider how we can best serve others. God, we thank you for everything. We give you praise for all of it. And please, today, it's my prayer that you would get me out of the way and let what you want to be heard, be heard. It's in your son's name we pray, amen. Okay, so today, this class is on children's ministry. And as you know, if you've spent any amount of time with a children's ministry in a children's classroom, you know that those times are just like a little bit different, if you will. They're different than other types of ministry. You know, I don't think a whole lot of pulpit ministers know the challenges that kids can pose during a Bible class. Behavior problems. We don't really have a whole lot of those in worship services these days, or when people are bringing a sermon. But there's a lot of things going on with children's ministry. Just out of curiosity, who in here serves in a children's ministry in some way? You help teach classes. Are there any vocational children's ministers in here that do that for a job? There we go. Very good. Nice to see you. Very good. Okay, so in the spirit of consistency, we've kind of talked about how children's ministry is different. It's its own beast. Well, this class is going to be a little bit different as well. So I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and then we're going to consider a couple of things. I'm going to ask you the same question at the end, and we're going to see if the answer has changed, if the answer is the same. Okay? So this first question that I'm going to ask you is a question that we ask our children at church at Green Hills all the time. Nearly every time we get together with them, we ask them this question. It's even escalated up further. We ask our youth group this question. Our university group answers this question. And all of our adults answer this question in one way or another quite often. The question is simple, but it's very profound. Where have you seen God today? Blake over there is nodding his head. He knows that I've asked that question for a really long time. I had Blake when he was 4 years old in my children's ministry at Lebanon Road. But I want you guys to consider that for a moment. Now, I don't mean when I ask that question for you to say, oh my goodness, like where have I physically seen God? It's the evidence of God working. We know that, right? It's where God has been at work, God has been moving, God's been touching hearts. So, if you will, I'm in children's ministry. I need some participation. Where have you seen God today? Anybody like to share where you've seen God?
In my son.
In your son. In your son. That's incredible. In relationships that we have with other people, right? Who drove here today? Was the sun out? It's a pretty day, right? It's a pretty hot. Those are things that God did, right? We've seen God everywhere. We see God in mundane things, even if we don't always notice it, right? So that right there is the crux of our whole entire class today. That question of where have you seen God? So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that and how to guide kids through this idea of how to notice God, how to take notice of what God is doing in our lives, what God is doing in moments that we may not even expect, moments that don't seem like teaching moments and don't seem like classroom moments. Then at the end, I hope that we get a little bit of time to kind of talk shop just a little bit of things that are going really well that you have seen work in children's ministries. I really want to hear from you on that. In Churches of Christ, formalized children's ministry, if you will, is a newer concept. It's always been around. You know, we've always had people that have taught classes, but people that are in those spaces now especially need a little bit of community. So I want to hear a little bit at the end of class what successes you've seen, what successes that God has given ministries that serve children and families. So I don't know where you are today as it relates to children's ministry. I don't know if you're just getting started. I don't know if you're building from the ground up, if you're pioneering a new curriculum, if you have a very cranky volunteer. I have no idea. But between all the lesson plans, the organizing the workroom, making sure there's enough goldfish and fruit snacks, you've all been there. I know you have. It's a lot, but it's holy work. And I'm so grateful that you guys have chosen to be here for this class to talk about this. I'm grateful that children's ministry has touched you in some way. And I'm also grateful that it's touched my life in some way. So as we dive in, it is no secret that in recent years, we have seen a mass migration of people, a lot of younger people away from the church, right? We've all heard those things. We've seen it with our own eyes. No matter the size of the congregations that we're in, our experience in church, we have seen that heartbreaking truth. The Barna Group suggests, then they raise that 59 to 64% of young people from kindergarten all the way through beginning college, 59 to 64% will completely disconnect with church involvement by the time they have their 20th birthday. This heartbreaking reality has left some with the realization that spaces for their own kids in their own congregations it's low-hanging fruit for mission work in a way that we might not have thought of that before. Satan is waging a war on our children. We all know that. He's waging a war on all of us. But in today's world, when we see just wickedness everywhere, how do we combat that as it relates to children's ministry? So the answer for many years, and I think rightly so, the answer for many years from lots of churches has been, okay, well, do something about it. Do something for the kids. More programming, more employees, more volunteers, more budget. Those things are good. I am not saying that we should not do that. But in the wake of that, I think there have been some that view those moments, those really big VBS moments, those big kids camp moments, those big church camp moments, and while they're so important and valuable and worthy, we viewed those as the main piece of our forming young minds for Christ. Again, the successes of those things cannot be debated. The Barna Group also says that if kids attend church camp, kids camp, VBS, those kinds of things, they are 3 times more likely to remain in church over their lifetime. So they have their place, but they're not the only thing. In fact, many kids, I've actually spoken to many in children's ministries that I've been in, they look at everyday life as it relates to their faith as something that they just get through until those mountaintop moments happen. A weekend retreat, When you boil it down, it's 2.5 days. We might wait 3 months for that. Church camp, 6 days, 7 maybe, but we wait 6 months for that. What are we doing every day? Now, the biggest thing that I want to tell you today is that if you work in children's ministry, if you work in youth ministry, you are a resource. You are not to take the lead on this. Parents are to step in and help raise their children.
Amen.
They are to do that. That is something that we can, as people who serve other people's children, we can remove from our plate a little bit. We are to offer resource and support. That's been something that my wife and I, as we have been in full-time ministry, we have had to wrestle with. How do we cope with these kids that we love so much? We have them 3 hours a week, maybe even 2. If the parents don't bring them, we don't have them at all. So how do we cope with that? I think it's really hard to do that, but we all know that the Lord entrusts parents to raise their children in the nurture and admonition of Him. But as people who serve children's ministries, how can we help guide them in that, in a gentle way, but in a way that's inspiring for their everyday life? There's a quote from a book. It's called The Liturgy of the Ordinary. We're going to talk through it a little bit. That would be, when I say that, that means rhythms that we all fall into in our everyday life. How can that become something that we do for God every day in front of our families and in front of our children? So this quote, it says, "How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives." Again, very, very simple truth there, but very, very profound. Daily choices add up to a lifetime. So today what I want to talk to you about, I want to walk through several different areas that when I say what they are not going to sound exciting. I want to reimagine what those moments look like. I want to reimagine and maybe help you walk through that, what those moments could look like if we turn them inside out and look at them as tools for teaching children how to notice God. That question that we asked at the beginning, where have you seen God? You're going to see that come up quite a bit today. But this is, again, I'm going to warn you, they are very mundane moments that we're going to talk about, okay? So the first one is waking up in the morning, okay? For a lot of people, that does not begin in an exciting way. It begins with an alarm. I don't know who uses an alarm clock anymore. I have not in a decade, but an alarm going off that wakes you up. I really hope for your sake it's like at least a nice tune or something like that, but it could be a blaring alarm. I don't know. For me, how I've been waking up the last several months, about 18 months now, is the rustling of the sheets on a baby monitor, and then and it's super, super loud. So that has not been like a peaceful way to wake up. But that moment in waking up is the way that you begin your day. It's the way that we have this shift from being unconscious, you're not remembering things while you're asleep, and you are rising up to meet the day. When kids wake up, what do we tell them? Do we remind them that the day is the Lord's? And it is for them. And it is for God. And the two can work together. And this day can be about the Lord. That's one way. That is a very mundane moment. Another one that nobody likes to do, making the bed. If you will, putting order to the chaos. Okay, we've created this mess. That's what we do as humans. We create this mess that we then need somebody to come in and help us fix. But we can turn around and we can participate in that. Do the things that set our day up for success. Do the things that take care of what we've been given. Kids notice those things. They notice how we frame the day. They will notice the first words that you say when they wake up. They will notice the first thing that you do when you wake up, and it will become a part of their everyday life and their everyday rhythm. Brushing your teeth. We wake up, you still got little crusty things in your eyes. You walk up to the bathroom sink and you yawn. You get the toothbrush out, you do all the things. We're doing something that is taking care of what God has given us. We're taking care of our bodies. If we don't do that, it will decay. We're showing our children, we can tell our children these things, our reliance on God, how we need to take care of things, and we need Him to take care of us. But it's also showing a respect to God throughout the day. Again, very mundane. All right, the next one. Losing your keys. Who's ever done that when you're on the way out the door? I did that this morning, actually, which is so funny that I was actually bringing this up today. But I misplaced my keys. I usually have a bowl I put them in, and I did not do that when I came in the door with the baby last night. And it was a shuffle this morning as I was trying to get out the door. Do you remember an account in the Bible about the lost coin? And how there was this massive shuffle. In my head, I just imagine like things literally turning upside down, and she's just like looking, and there's dust flying. She's looking for this thing that she lost. That's a reminder of what God does for us. We leave whatever we're doing to go and find our keys. It's the only thing that matters, right? God does the same thing. And it's these small moments, these really small moments that we can incorporate into our day, and we can say, hey, look, we messed up, and we need to take a minute and we need to fix it. Kids will notice that. They will participate in that, and again, it will become a part of their daily rhythm. All right, sitting in traffic. Who likes that? Nobody, right? Okay, so sitting in traffic, though, you could look at that as one of two ways. You're trapped in your car. You're in gridlock traffic in the morning. The lights are not changing quick enough. If you're around these parts, there's probably a train blocking the road at about 9:30 in the morning, keeping everyone from getting anywhere. You could also look at those times that you have a captive audience with your children. When I was growing up, my parents, I'm going to say this and it sounds a lot more bougie than it actually is. We were members at a country club, but it was like $300 for the summer, okay? It was like very cheap. And there was a really long bridge that went across, it was a really long road, and there were several bridges on it, excuse me. And what we would do when we were approaching the clubhouse where we were going is my parents would pray. And we would pray from one end to the other. In those moments, we weren't gathered around a table and we were just waiting for someone to get done praying so we could eat our food. We looked forward to it. It became a part of our day. Oh my goodness, we're on the road, we have to pray. Where could we incorporate those things into our life? I don't know where you go on a daily basis, what you do on a daily basis. I don't know that. But I do know that you can find somewhere to do that. It might take a little bit of digging, a little bit of looking, but there's somewhere. All right, evening time. You get home. Sometimes you got that rush, oh my goodness, we got to get homework done. Got to get bath, we got to get PJs, we got to get in bed. We have to do the 20-minute bedtime routine, read all the certain books, stack them in the right spot. Close your eyes, stick your tongue out, do all those things that please the kids, right? Those moments are also moments when we can incorporate daily truths about God. We can speak the Lord's word over our children. And I want you to take just a moment and just think about how you could do that. How you could incorporate biblical principles into those mundane, everyday, honestly boring moments. All I'm suggesting is that there's a lot of kids that spend their life, spend their days waiting on those mountaintop moments. I've given you just a few examples of moments that we can turn holy real quick. And they can happen every day. So, hold on one second. I want you to think through the Bible for just a moment. We're going to have a little conversation here. Think through the Bible. Think of all those accounts. Think of parable stories. Think of examples that Jesus gives us where he takes something ordinary and he makes it extraordinary. Have a couple that I could share with you just to kind of get your brain moving a little bit. Jesus' first miracle, the wedding feast at Cana. Our version of that would be somebody just killed the last 2 liter, right? At a party, right? Somebody just took all of it. There's nothing left. We don't want to send anybody to the store. But that moment, God took something that was not great, something that could deflate a party really fast, and he turned it into his first miracle. And our kids can tell you that. They can say, that was the first one. That was when we noticed something was different. So, what other stories can you think of? What other accounts in the Bible can you think of when an ordinary thing was turned extraordinary in a moment? Can you think of any?
Catching a fish with Peter.
Yes, a catch of a fish.
They were fishing every day.
Yeah. So that would have been their normal Tuesday, right? But then their normal Tuesday to go fishing. And it was turned extraordinary in a moment. What else?
When Naaman the leper was commanded to dip 7 times in Jordan.
Yes, that was something, some sickness happens every day, right? And there was sickness and injury that was going on, and then they washed in the river like they might have done on a normal basis. But it was turned extraordinary, again, in a moment. We see all these examples, and they are just scattered through Scripture of things that we might walk past every day that the Lord can use for an incredible, incredible teaching moment. Are there any other ones that you can think of? The raising of Lazarus. People die. People in our lives die. They pass away. They move. They go somewhere else. They leave us. But the Lord took that moment of great grief and sadness. He flipped it on its head. And it's that mindset that I'm suggesting could absolutely transform the lives of our kids today. How do we speak the name of Jesus over these kids every day in those moments that seem boring? So, I want to ask you one more time today, and then we're going to talk a little bit of shop today on children's ministry and some good things that are going on. I want to hear from several people, if possible, where you have seen God today. I know it's only 10 something in the morning, but have you seen him anywhere?
I saw it this morning in the coolest of the morning as the sun was coming.
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's good, peaceful and cool and comfortable. What else? Anybody? Yep.
I woke up refreshed this morning and not tired. So.
Here we go. Hilton's one of my interns this summer in our children's ministry, and we've had a doozy of a summer. So I'm glad that you woke up refreshed this morning. That's good. That's good. Small praises, right? What else? What else want to share?
I saw God in a baby.
And a baby. Oh my goodness, they're so sweet. They're so sweet. I know. I'm blessed every day by the work that I get to do with kids, and so I love that answer. That's great. That's great. Miss Dodie.
Well, like sunrises and sunsets, and of course I haven't seen a sunset this morning, but when we're driving, especially going to worship, we see some beautiful sunsets and you see God's presence.
Yeah.
And they're all different.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so cool.
Yeah. And y'all, I don't know if y'all are aware of like geography of Nashville or not, but Miss Dodie and Mr. Ron, they live east of town, so they've got great views to and from worship for those. Yes, Mr. Ron, what you got?
Rainbows.
Ooh, okay, very good.
I mean, that is magnificent.
Yes, promise of what God can do for us, right? What else? Anybody else? Where have you seen him, y'all?
So, in our kids, yesterday, or when we were telling them what we were going to be doing, we're going to be spending how many hours doing what? You know, they were not thrilled. And yesterday, they had a really pleasant experience. There was a lot of other kids here that they were able to connect with. And this morning, there was no complaining. Everybody got ready
That's
on
great.
their own. They were ready to come. And as soon as we parked the car, they all just ushered in. And
Mass exodus, yeah.
We got a chance to actually spend a few minutes saying a prayer before we came in.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Is there anywhere else you've seen him? No one? I hope that you can take that really simple question and take these really simple, boiled down ideas and use them with your own children, with your grandchildren, in the children's ministries that you serve and support, with your neighbors, on T-ball teams, wherever. Those can become the ministry moments. Those have the power. The Lord has the power to make those moments, those life-changing ministry moments that don't leave them waiting for the next big event to happen, but they leave them waiting to figure out where they're going to see God next. If we can transform that mindset, I really think we can transform the next generation. And I know that we all care about that. I know that we do. So I want you to think about that today. That is the main piece of what I wanted to leave you with. How can we reimagine these moments? Okay? So now, what I want to do, I kind of want to shift gears a little bit. I have found, just in the last 11 years of doing children's ministry specifically, there are not a whole lot of spaces for people to chat about successes and failures, hard things and good things that are going on within our children's ministries. Some people have a great support system, but some people really do not. And so I want to hear from you guys, if you're willing to share, some things that are, actually you can decide what you want to share. If you want to share something that's been a challenge, we can say a prayer over those things. If you want to share something that's been really, really good, it's been a big success for you or for a children's ministry that you know about or have observed, let's talk about it. Because, again, every moment's an opportunity. Every single one. So let's talk about it. Blake, what do you got? I saw your hand.
I think the outreach ministry stuff is more, it brings a lot of people into like Breakfast with Santa, backpack giveaways, stuff like that.
Yes. So those moments right there, those are great examples of how we can reach people and things that can be very successful, right? What other things? What have y'all seen work really well in children's ministry in general? Anybody can share.
don't say the more successes you'll have.
Yeah.
But the more relationships that you will build. I think you've got to build relationships with your community as the church. If that means programs, then yeah, it's programs. But relationship, if you start building relationships, like for us, our preschool, summer breaks at some of our preschool, 140 students, 65% of those students go to church nowhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Yep.
Their families go nowhere. So what do you do to build those relationships? Well, that means you're going to have a cookout. And, you know, I say this with all love and heart, not everything has to be a Bible study.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you'll be the example of showing the light of Jesus in what you do and how you live your life, then they in turn will turn around and say, why is it that you're living that way? Then you can show them that.
They notice something's different, right? Very good. Very good. So those everyday relationships there is a huge part. It's what Jesus did.
Most people will come to your church because of a relationship.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Anything else? Mr. Tim?
Kind of on the same idea as Jerry just said, I'm here at Creepon. We have a preschool in the building
Yeah.
right behind us. We also have 2 local elementary schools, and we try to be involved in them in school supplies, teacher appreciation week. We try to do stuff in the congregation. But when we have things, we try to invite those. We invite the neighboring schools. We invite preschool families. We're the same situation. Many of them aren't church related. And many of the people that are there don't have a church home. I wish the percentages were a lot better than they are, but if you reach 1 or 2 families, that's success. So,
It's huge.
You know, the 1 in 99.
Yep. Several years ago, I believe this has changed, but there was a pretty prominent Christian school here in town that I did a little bit of communication with as far as getting church involvement back up. Met with several people there, and I was extremely shocked to hear that 80% of the children, their parents wrote on paper, we don't go to church anywhere. That was at a Christian school. And what we did, it's something that worked for us, and it may work for you, it may not, depending on where you are. We started a carnival that we did every spring, and I know that sounds like it might not be a tool for evangelism, but it really was. We invited children's ministries from all over town to come to that school and set up a table to provide a game with prizes for the kids. And you have a captive audience at that point, and you can tell them about your children's ministry and do the best you can to get the word out. It's up to them what they do after that. It worked for several of the churches that were there. So that's an example there of if they will allow you to get in the door to be the hands and feet of Jesus there. What else? What other things have gone really well? Yeah.
I'm with Tim at Creepon.
Yeah.
So one of our, with our outreach committee, one of the projects that we spearhead with the schools is like food pantries.
Yeah.
So just seeing the gratitude that they have for that. And then we're also going to be doing an upcoming, the school cluster, Overton cluster at the school. So
That's great.
A huge impact.
That's great. That's great. Is there anything else? Anybody wants to share? What are your best ideas? What do you wish churches could do or would do to reach people? Let's just workshop that a little bit. What's your biggest idea for reaching kids and families with a church? You have anything?
What are you looking for?
Anything y'all want to talk about? I'm just getting the mindset rolling as far as spitballing ideas.
So I guess the question is, what does the community, like you go back to community.
Yeah.
What do they know about
Yeah.
you?
Right. And
So what do you want them to know about you as a congregation?
yeah, that's a great question. Does anybody? want to share there? Like what story are you trying to tell your community about your church family, about where you are?
I mean, we joke at Spring Medicine because we're literally out. You have to look.
You have to drive to it, yeah.
You have to look for us to
Yeah,
find us.
yeah.
And we tell people it's the best kept secret you can see, because you have to come and find where we're at.
Yeah.
But yet 600 people every week come and find us.
Yeah, it's great.
There's a
It's
reason
incredible.
why.
Yeah.
Let us show you.
Yeah. Yeah, something that at Green Hills that we've done for a really long time. Every August, when the students come back to Lipscomb University, we invite every incoming freshman. I think this year there's 900 freshmen coming into Lipscomb for we call it University Sunday. To my understanding, Ms. Jana, she might could answer this better than me. I think it's been going like more than 60 years, like a really long time. And we invite them to come for class. We invite them to come and stay for a meal at the end. And then our university minister does a fantastic job of having them stick around, helping them to know that they have a place to fit in. I don't know if that would work where you guys are. It very well may. But these are just those things that we can do to reach out to people and be the reason that they come and that they meet the Lord, or that they return to the Lord. You don't have anything else? Any other ideas? Yes, Blake.
You're along that line. It's kind of reminding me of what Shane does with all his tech stuff, and kind of using that to reach out to the community to get people to.
Yes. So there's lots of ways, obviously, y'all are aware, lots of things on social media that we can do to reach out and get the word out to people as well. That's a great point, Blake. I neglected to mention that earlier. But anyway, guys, we're going to wrap up a few minutes early, I believe. But what I want to do is I want to speak another word of prayer over you and pray over you and bless your day and bless you as you move out from this place and as you seek to serve kids and families and churches in general. So please pray with me. God, we again just lift you up as the Lord and creator of this world. We thank you for just this time together that we've had to consider how can we make our biggest impact in the smallest moments. I pray over every person in this room that they would leave this place having learned something, having some tool in their toolbox to help to build your kingdom. God, thank you for this time together, and thank you for every single soul and every person in this room. It's in your son's name I pray. Amen. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.